Atlantic City, Pleasantville.
The Jimmy Whitehead Power Hour. Power to the people. Talking about the power of the people of Atlantic City. A platform for people to discuss ideas of the community. Creating an all-inclusive environment where people of Atlantic City can actively participate in the economic revitalization of Atlantic City's future. This forum will focus on black and white capitalism, working together to create red, white, and blue capitalism. Every Monday from 5 to 6 p.m. on WEHA 88.7 and 100.3 FM. We have gospel. The Jimmy Whitehead Power Hour. Power to the people.
There's been so many things that's held us down, but now it looks like things are finally coming around. I know we've got a long, long way to go, and where we'll end up, I don't know. But we won't let nothing hold us back. We're putting our show together, we're polishing up our act. And if you've ever been held down before, I know you refuse to be held down anymore. Don't you let nothing stand in your way. I want you to listen.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, Atlantic City and America. Good afternoon to everybody. Look, we got a heavy show we get ready to do today, and this show is going to focus on some very critically important issues to Atlantic City. We have in the studio with us today Miss Lisa Diane Hall. Hello, Lisa Diane Hall.
Hello, Jimmy Whitehead.
And we
How
have a very distinguished guest, Mr. Stuart Wolf. How you doing, Stuart Wolf?
Good afternoon, Jim. Young lady, how are you this afternoon?
How are you? Welcome to WEHA Studios.
Thank you. It's a beautiful studio for those that haven't been here. It is gorgeous.
Okay, well, thank you.
It is.
We need people like you to help spread the word about WEHA.
Absolutely.
Into your community and all the communities that are watching you right now.
Absolutely.
Okay. That's
Miss
how we
Teddy
do it.
Taché, are you on the line? Not yet? Okay. Well, yes, Teddy Taché is on the line. Okay, Steph. Hello. You don't know about Teddy Taché. She works for the government. Hello, Teddy Taché.
How are you?
I'm
Good
good.
evening, everyone.
Hi, Teddy
Good
Taché.
evening. Can you turn the volume up in the studio so they can hear when Teddy talks and other people talk? Well, we have a couple other guests joining us. Derek Brock is on his way, and also James Z. King is on his way. And we all have our phones charged up because today, in support of vote no against the referendum to take away our vote, we've decided to come together and collectively put together a team of pretty much media people, from Lisa Diane Hall's LDTV to Stuart Wolf's experience in the media campaigns and running major community events. And Derek Brock has a Derek Brock station, and James Z has Vibe 609. So what we've decided to do is that we're all going to team up, and we're all going to have this extraordinary mobile media consortium. That consortium is going to focus on turning our phones on Facebook Live at the same time, at the same place, so that instead of reaching 1,000 friends or 5,000 friends, collectively, we're going to reach hundreds of thousands of friends, because today we're planting a seed for what we call a millions people cyber march. Just like they had the Million Man campaign in Washington, D.C., that was focused on black injustice and black police brutality and other black issues, black economic development. It was a very black march. Well, this is going to be a red, white, and blue march, because we want blacks, whites, Latinos, Asians, everybody to be able to go to our hashtag Vote No 17 and join our campaign, because we want to mobilize 1 million voters across America to support a justice campaign in Atlantic City that is focused on this Vote No. So Lisa Diane Hall, with that, let me get your opinion in terms of, because you're a media woman, organizing this mobile media platform so we can mobilize more than 5,000 eyeballs, we can mobilize hundreds of thousands and millions.
Well, absolutely, Jimmy Whitehead. You have a great idea by doing this simulcast. What the word that you're
Simulcast.
describing is a simulcast, and what we're doing is we are using our social media platforms because everybody's got a social media page. So what we're doing is we are all using our social media platforms, reaching out to all of our different audiences to get the message to the masses about what it is that we're doing. So. I think it's a great idea that you're doing this. We are encouraging everybody to share the video, share the message, share the broadcast because it's great information. Would you like to chime in on that in any way?
Absolutely. This Vote No campaign that we're just starting really today is not a black, white, Latino issue. It's a people issue. The people of Atlantic City need to come together, old and young, black or white, male or female, does not matter. What's being done to Atlantic City has been tried so many times in the past. If you look at who's behind this change of government, the people who have ran for office and been defeated, a union president that's trying to take over a municipality, a casino owner putting monies into a political arena that in the initial passage of gaming in 1976, when they wrote the casino bill, they specifically put in that bill that no key licensed employees were allowed to finance political campaigns. And over 42 years, they've changed the laws and allowed a casino owner to put money in with the president of a union and attempt to take the rights of the people away. I'm also going to state for the show today, and you're going to hear me sing this song every day from now to Election Day. It was so important to the governor to take over Atlantic City, to run the day-to-day operations of Atlantic City, where I was born and raised. Has anyone heard the governor say anything about this change of government? Have you heard Lieutenant Sheila Oliver, who comes to Atlantic City regularly, say anything about the change of government up until this point? No, we have not. What else have they tied to the change of government? The same time, in front of both houses in the state, is gambling for North Jersey. How many times have they attempted to do this? Twice before, and it's been defeated twice before. Their thoughts are, if they pollute the waters enough, and they just continue hammering the citizens, hammering them every day, eventually the citizens will give up. And when the citizens give up, then they will be in control.
Yeah, thank you on that, Stuart. Let me bring another distinguished gentleman who just joined us and is part of our new mobile media platform so that we can create a million people cyber march for justice. Somebody everybody knows and loves locally and is one of the most extraordinary community activist leaders in Atlantic City, Steve Young. Steve Young, how you doing, man? Glad you could join us today.
Good, and it's a pleasure to be here, especially WEHA, WEHA, it's always in the community, about the community, so we do appreciate that coming from Atlantic City, especially when it comes from the grassroots level on up. So,
what are your thoughts, Mr. Young, about, Peacekeepers is an extraordinary organization that is focused on doing the right thing, doing good by doing well, but I also know that you're politically in tune. What are your thoughts about this economic apartheid referendum to try to take the vote away from the people of Atlantic City?
Well, you really want to know? Because
Yeah, I want you. This is what we do here. This is what we do here.
Keep it real.
Good morning, brother. Good afternoon, brother.
We got to keep our eyes on the prize.
Yes, sir.
It's a lot been going on in our communities for years. One thing that happened a few years ago, back in 2016, is basically the change of government actually happened in 2008 in Atlantic City.
Wow.
When the city actually had the transitional aid, which was aid that they accepted from the state, and they signed the MOU that the state can take over.
I see.
So all of this is, we're talking about change of government, different things like that, and all that reflects back on the root of the issue. It's the state. Now, how do we get in this situation? Basically, Atlantic City's been bankrupt for years because of the economics, and everybody knows all the casinos making all the money. But where did the money go? It goes to the state.
Right.
Now, we had different governors and different legislators to make different laws.
Correct.
Now, because we, as residents and the people that's been counted for so long, don't hold them accountable, we got to check ourselves.
Well stated.
I mean, we have to check ourselves. That's real.
Well
And what I
stated.
mean by that, we can't wait and talk about being somebody's friend or just going out on election day and doing a vote. It's about the day after, holding them accountable to what they vote on. See, legislation is what done this to Atlantic City. Legislation, that means the Assembly and the Senate.
Right.
The governor's basically been executive branch of the government that went about administering, carrying out what the legislation is. See, we got to start with the root. Most people don't know how a bill becomes a law. So what are you voting for? Do you really know? So it's about education. And if we don't have the airwaves and we don't communicate with each other to know how to educate ourselves in economics, in politics, and so forth, we end up with what we have. It don't make no sense that over 70% of the black people that live in Atlantic City did not fill out the census. That took away not only monies, but representation when it comes to Assembly, when it comes to Senate, and it comes to congressmen and senators. So we have to educate ourselves and check ourselves when it comes to accountability.
Thank you.
Accountability is where we should be looking at. And right now, we can fuss and fight about the change of government. It don't make no difference who's there. The state is still going to be the ruler. And as long as they're a ruler, we're not holding them accountable, we're going to get what we're getting. And I like what the gentleman said over there about the governor.
Stuart Wolf.
Yes. The governor Murphy got over 97% of the black vote.
Wow.
So where's the accountability? And where do you see 97% of the issues when it comes to Atlantic City? They created the apartheid and carrying it out. But they got us looking at each other and fighting each other like we're fighting for a position
Right.
and a title. But we're not fighting about the money and the issues and the social problems. And the casinos complain about what's going on in Atlantic City. Well, they lobby to the state legislators more than we do. So it's about us coming together and dealing with, keeping our eyes on the prize of those holding them accountable.
And let me remind you of something while you're on the subject, Mr. Young. And you would remember this. How many years ago was it that Atlantic City operated under the commission form of government? And it was I was a young man involved. And we had a charter study commission duly elected by the residents that picked the specific form of government that we have today. It was voted on by the residents of Atlantic City and passed. And that's how we have the government that we have today. During that period of time, they tried every dirty trick in the book to stop the people's will. They rejected a petition time and time and time again. We went back in the streets and collected more signatures and continuously fought until such time as we got the government that we have today that represents the people of the city. Each ward has a councilman. Then you have 3 councilmen that are citywide. You have a mayor that you elect directly. This is what is good for the average person of Atlantic City.
Mr. Stewart, let me do this, because we have a guest here that drove down from Philadelphia to be with us, and he's also been leading the effort with the Census Bureau so that we can get our accountability, as Steve Young said, so we can get our resources, our community. Mr. Tyler,
Yes, sir.
How are you today, brother?
I'm fine. I'm blessed to be here. Thank you so much for the invitation.
Yes, sir.
And excuse my tardiness. I got caught up in traffic.
No problem.
Trying to be here, but
You're
I'm here.
You're here, brother. So I know you've been seeing what's going on in Atlantic City with this petition to cancel our vote. And what are your thoughts in terms of what's going on in Atlantic City right now with this take our vote away, this apartheid Willie Lynch situation?
Well, first of all, I'm gonna try and say it as short as time as possible.
Yes, sir.
But I can't articulate the whole problem and boil it down into 3 minutes, but I'll try. Mm-hmm. First of all, it's a shame that I can't just speak freely because I got to think about, okay, there's this one faction in Atlantic City that follows this group. There's another faction in Atlantic City that follows this group. There's another faction in Atlantic City that follows that group. And I don't want to offend any of them because I work in the media, so I got to work with all of these people.
Yes.
And the funny thing about it is they all used to be one faction, and now they act like they can't stand to be in the room with each other. So that's part of the problem. Now, if I see this, there are other people who figure that okay, so now the time is right.
Yes.
As a matter of fact, the time been right. They probably, for what they want to accomplish, they could have done this or started on this 5 years ago.
Yes.
Our black community has been split and splintered over very menial things. So there's that part. But the other thing is, and somebody may have alluded to it already, as long as Atlantic City was down and people from Virginia and California thought that we were the one with the Ferris wheel on the beach, and as long as we were that Atlantic City, nobody was really checking for wanting to take over that government, because it's just like with big government, when America goes over to and wants to bring quote unquote democracy to Ukraine. They don't really want to do that, because once you break it, once you accept it, once you say, I'm going to take it on, you bought it. But now they see some resources here in Atlantic City that are ripe for the picking. They see that the community is divided, and now the time is right to, get on and do what they wanted to do for a long time. And they're resentful of our people, and they don't believe that we have the maturity to run or to run the resources that we have access to and that we will be having access to, because Atlantic City is only going to get hotter, bigger, better with the next coming, over the next few years.
Let me ask you this. Let me do this. Could a brother that inspired us to get this Bobo campaign going with the media so that we can get 1 million people around America to support our efforts, is somebody that's been around in the community, has been out there doing things, big things with the community, and it's Vibe 609. Brother named James Z. King. James Z. King, I would like to get your opinion on this whole situation regarding this referendum vote. What is your thoughts on this referendum? And Roy, you there? Roy.
Okay, well, pardon me. I thank you for allowing me to be here and share the platform first and foremost.
Yes, sir.
And I want to say that I think they're doing everybody a disservice. I know for a fact we more than competent to govern our own affairs. I watch it done all the time. I be all the places where his work is being done, and I'm more than competent in our people.
Wonderful. Well, we just had another special guest, and after this, I'm going to take it to Derek Brock, my main man. Roy Foreman, how you doing today, Roy?
I'm doing fine, Jimmy, doing fine.
We appreciate you coming and joining this mobile media campaign so that we can get the word out to more people about doing good and do well. And I'm sure you've been watching the activities going on around this Vote No campaign against this petition. Mm-hmm. You have some thoughts you want to share with us about this Vote No?
Well, I mean, it's like I didn't get his name, but he just kind of gave a good. Tyler just kind of gave a great synopsis of this. You know, when you got a house that's divided, those saying house divided won't stand. That's been the problem with Atlantic City. I've been here about 20 years, but I've been coming here because of my involvement with the boxing here, and of course a lot of work with the casinos. And the diversity that wasn't here is the reason Atlantic City got into the situation it did. Because everybody put all the emphasis on gambling and gaming. And anytime you put all your eggs in one basket, you know that when a couple of them crack, you got a mess on your hands. So, and you know, as a person that travels around the world, the globe pretty much, and see the advances that people of color can make and should make once we decide to get everything together. But the idea is you got to have one thought that has to go. It's got to be a thing that said, okay, we all agree this is the way it's going to be. Not my way, not your way, not his way, but what's best for everybody else. And I think that Atlantic City is moving toward that. But as they start to see you come along with that, the problem is somebody's going to come in. My mother used to always say, there's always a snake in the garden somewhere. No matter how clean that garden is, there's a snake somewhere in that garden. Okay, so you got to figure out who that person is to make sure that your agenda or his agenda doesn't throw yours off.
Wow, we'll see. Hold on, Derek Brock. What Brother Roy Foreman just said is something you've been talking about too. And the one thing that we're doing here, emphasizing, we are a committee of unification. Everybody sitting in here today has agreed that we're going to focus on unifying the community. Derek, give us your perspective on this whole initiative, because you've been very engaged, and we are supportive of the mayor's leadership to vote no, all the council members. We don't want nobody to think that any of us are divided in Atlantic City on this issue, because we all together, black, white, and everything. So, Derek, give us your perspective.
First of all, again, thank you for having me on tonight and on this wonderful, magnificent Jimmy Whitehead Power Hour. You know, as I listen to the different perspectives regarding the division of the community, I tend to disagree with that. And only reason why I disagree is because demographics are playing a major part in how things are changing in Atlantic City. And when we say, because I had an issue with that online with someone saying to me that they called me a crab, or a crab in a basket they used, because I didn't support a certain faction of the group or what have you. And my position on that is because demographics are changing, our minds have to change with that, because it's no longer a black community as we would like to have it. Okay, there are white people are moving into the community, the Pakistanis and Bangladeshi people are moving into the community, and we all know that the Spanish people have always been economically ahead of us, okay, because of their business abilities to run these construction companies and corner stores, what have you, and bodegas they call them. But so I would say that there is unity, but we have to look beyond one another as African Americans and start. And I like Jimmy's platform when he says black, white, red, white, and blue capitalism, because if we don't start looking at everybody as part of that, because unity is everybody, then we're going to lose. And that's where I think we're making a big mistake by saying we're divided, but actually we're not divided. We need to find the people who are thinking alike and unify with those people, and not so much focus on black and white and blue or green, because at the end of the day, it's all about a dollar. And we got to get the people that's like-minded to share our ideas together, because we're moving into a different era in the world, in America. This is a global society. We're no longer a monolithic group of people that we just got to stick to these big marches and these big, black people think, okay, yes, I support all of that. I'm a part of that. We should have that, but don't eliminate other people because of that. Because that's where I think we lose, because the numbers don't support what our efforts are, because there aren't as many of us voting as we should be voting. So if we say the blacks don't stick together, even if we did, how many of us are voting? So do we need more votes in order to win? Of course. So how are we going to get it if we're the only ones that we're relying on? So when I was in business, that's one of the things I recognized when I started in the cab business, and years ago. And I noticed, I said, a lot of people were saying, they don't like the Haitians, they don't like the Haitians, right? And I started looking at it, I said, well, if the Haitians own all the cabs, and here I am, a small black cab company, and all I got is just American black people working for me, but 90% of the people that's driving the cabs are Haitian, why would I hate the Haitians or not like the Haitians? That don't even make any sense. Because then you say, well, you're going against the black people. You're going against our people. No, I'm not. I'm bringing more people in, become more inclusive. Stop shutting people out. Bring people in. That's what unity is, and that's my point.
On that point, Steve Young, you are a real expert in terms of building community coalitions. Respond to what Derek just said about the unification.
Well, what they say about black people don't stick together. Well, we wouldn't have lasted this long if we did.
Right.
That's factual fact.
Amen.
So there's no question about that.
Right.
But it's basically when it comes to the human race, is what we have in common to move this country and this world forward. And we have more people that thinks about what's right than wrong. But are we spending that time together to network and do that? So, there's a challenge that I basically we asked for before, is that we need to take the titles, whether it's faith-based, whether it's politics, activists, everything, in our community, and get in one room. And this is a challenge. Put them out the room, take that out the room, and let's come together what we have in common. That's the way we can save our community. That's the way we can build our community. And I'm sure we can come out that room together with something that we have in common to move forward. Without that, and again, I challenge everybody in this room, as well as everybody that's listening, we can do that. Just take an hour somewhere, and if someone has to do it has to start somewhere. Maybe it'll start with you, Jimmy. For everybody to come together for 1 hour.
Yes.
One agenda, put all the titles away.
Yes.
Let's come in as a human being.
Love it.
And let's build our community. That's the only way we're going to be able to move forward in this country and in this world. That's the only survival we have left. So that's a challenge to everybody that's listening.
But if I can interrupt you for 1 second, because as we're all podcasting, and I'm new at this podcasting. There's quite a few people throughout the area that are listening. And they brought up 2 very interesting points. This is not the first time that the state tried to take over Atlantic City. In 1989, we all remember well, the state came in with some trumped up charges called ComServe.
Wow.
And what happened? They didn't get their way. During that period of time, there was a people mover system due to be built in Atlantic City. If those of you that are here remember the Sands Casino, they put a moving sidewalk in from the boardwalk to the Sands to the Claridge. Yes. That was to be tied into the people mover system. But at that point in time, the state powers did not want Atlantic City to succeed. So they took the leadership out of Atlantic City. And again, many years later, they're back at our door, knocking it down, trying to tell us what's good for us. No. We know what's good for us. And that's why as a group in this room, we all must come together. It doesn't matter your color, your religion, your race, your age. We must unite and show them no means no. Vote no.
Okay, with that, Mr. Tyler, you wanted to add something to what was said?
Yes. I was loath to say anything because Steve ended on such a bright note. So I will try and point to the positive rather than go back down the road of where we are. I am glad that despite some of the problems with the factions in Atlantic City, that I just find, okay, I have to say this. I wish they could get over themselves and do like Brother Steve said, come into a room and come up with one agenda.
Yeah.
Because I'm of the age where I went to school with many of these people in power in Atlantic City now. And again, we all used to be friends. And here's the important part. There's nobody who I've met who's been mayor or run for mayor from Ushry to now that wanted to see the city do bad. Mm-hmm. So if all of us in this room agree that we want everyone to vote no on change of government, let's go ahead and do that and not get caught up in, well, he wants us to vote no because of this, or he wants us to vote no because of that. Right. He wants us to vote no because of the youth. Well, because I didn't say that he hates the youth. I mean, we really need to grow up because we sound very immature when we do that. So
good point. You know something, guys? Back in it's like 74, 75, right? Julian Bond.
Yes.
From Atlanta, right? And this is the one thing that, and this was a change of power from 74 to about 80, maybe 90 or somewhere. That he expressed to youth, because this thing about wealth equality has been going on for a long time.
Long time.
And it's never going to happen. You get 5 or 6 of us, maybe somebody gets extra $10 somewhere in the way, then they're doing a little bit better, then it kind of throws us off again. But if we don't get these young kids, and I'm talking about the ones 17, 18 years of age involved into this program now, 20 years, 30 years from now, somebody will be sitting just like we're doing now, they're talking about the exact same thing.
And what's funny? When we were 17, I can attest, when we were 17, 16, 15 years old, we sat around looking at the older folks saying, when we get in power, we're not going to do that. And now that's what we're doing. I'm glad that Brother Whitehead brought us in the media together today, because one thing that I can say I haven't seen in this area right now is animosity between us who are working in the media or trying to build our media empires. So now I'm glad Jimmy Whitehead brought us together, because the next thing to do is to figure out what I can do to make Vibe 609 stronger. And if I get a guest who may not be right for my show, I can say, look, call my man James. Or, if I get somebody who really wants to talk strong about global capitalism, I would say, you can come on my show and talk about that, but who really has the connections for global capitalism? The Jimmy Whitehead Power Hour. And we have to start doing, matter of fact, I think media-wise we are doing that. Yes. But how can we get some of our elected officials and community members to think that way?
I wanted to add on to that.
Yes, please do.
Because I think a lot of people get lost in the sauce. You know what I mean? A lot of people's agendas is to only make money. Mm-hmm. Now, the whole purpose of government is to be regulated by the people. Mm-hmm. The people forgot that part.
Right.
Only how we supposed to put somebody in office or get behind them is based off an agenda that we agreed to, and then get them to sign it and hold them accountable. Then we back them. Correct. We trust them like they're God himself. Mm-hmm. And that's a problem. And by us looking at it that way, we are inevitably going to be getting a bad outcome, because God gets jealous. Mm-hmm. All religions teach you that. So, and another thing I want to talk about all the unity that a lot of people talk about. We've personally been reaching out to all of the coalitions, and putting them on blast. I had a video I did earlier talking about that. We want to talk with the Asian coalitions, the Bangladeshian coalitions, the Pakistani, everybody that's in this community. Because at the end of the day, if that's not happening, mm-hmm. then it's all fake. Mm-hmm. Correct. It's all fake.
Mm-hmm. So, any words on that, Steve?
Yeah, he's exactly right. And I definitely want to give credit to James King L. Vibe 609, because government's supposed to be for the people, by the people.
Right.
But what does that mean if you're not acting it out? Mm-hmm. I mean, if you're staying at home and just pressing like and worry about how many likes and views you have, we have a major problem.
Yeah.
Because the action is really in the street.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And then voting is in the street. Mm-hmm. And it's about holding them accountable. You got to go to an office to do that. Mm-hmm. You have to go to, to the meetings to do that. Mm-hmm. You have to speak your mind. So for us to hold back that government, then we're holding back ourselves. So education is the key to doing that. Yes.
This issue, the vote no issue, must be taken to the street, because that's where the people are, in the street. And we must go from person to person.
But at the same time, let's look at the numbers. Atlantic City, close to 35 to 40,000 people that live there. Close to 12,000 registered to vote.
Correct.
Less than 3,000 votes come out to vote for a mayor or our representative. Okay, so we're talking about at least 11,000 people that's sitting at home or doing nothing.
Correct.
And so how can they hold them accountable? So we have to educate them how strong the vote is and how it affects them. Look at what's going on from Washington on down.
Oh, absolutely.
Those appointed judges going to determine our children and our grandchildren that will reflect and return everything backwards in reference to civil rights and human rights legislation if we don't change the legislation that exists today.
But that's why
important.
you got to get those young children.
Yes.
I had a goddaughter turned 18 yesterday, right? And the first thing I said to her, I said, now you can vote.
Wow.
She is looking so much forward to that, right?
Wow.
But the only thing that she hears and knows about right now is the presidential election.
Correct.
So how many people have started pounding going to these schools?
Yes.
I was on I just sat on a board thing in Houston a couple of weeks ago, and I was there with the city of Houston. And we talked about this same thing, but over Texas Southern University, which is an all-black college university, right, HBCU. But in that room of 5,000, it must have been 2,000 high school kids that were there. 50% of the audience. That means that they had an interest about what was going on. We, as older Americans, black, whatever color, black Americans, especially the ones who are working, we have so many agendas that we kind of have to attend to. We forget things, right? And then the older you get, I don't know about you guys, but it's easy to forget something, right?
Yeah.
But these young kids, man, you have to pour stuff on, like Atlantic City High School. What's the other one over? There's a couple of them. I keep Pleasantville. Hey, man.
Oak Crest High School.
Those kids should be. I'm telling you. I don't know how the school boards allow it, but it can be done. If you said 3,000 people determines who's going to lead the city of Atlantic City, man, that's horrible. That's less than about 10%, you say, of the population over there?
I actually, because Jimmy and I was having this same conversation about how many people, we was just talking about this, I think it was yesterday, and I actually, when people say there's less than, out of 15 or 12,000 registered voters, there's 11 or 9,000 people that's not voting, but my position is there's 40,000 people. It should be about 25, 30,000
Exactly.
registered voters, and we should be complaining about that.
Yeah.
Not the little bit that we have, and we're saying, well, only 10 people ain't voted out of 10. No, where the rest of all the people?
Right, exactly.
The whole city should be engaged.
Before
right?
Stuart Wolf says something, I've got each one of you a very special Atlantic City gift. I want you to know, I wouldn't even call it a Christmas gift. I'm just going to call it a love gift. And each one of you are going to get the first stack of 100 stickers that you can hand out to people to vote no. So here's your vote no stickers. Sir, you know we have one for you, Mr. King. They don't say nobody's name on them. All they is the people's vote.
The people's to vote
The people
no.
vote.
So when you tell me this is all I get, I hand this out to somebody. I'm telling you how young people feel. What is this? Vote no what?
Right.
Well, we're going to get you some more.
But do you understand what I'm saying?
No, we're going to get you some more. But see, this was like a ceremonial.
I understand that.
It's beginning.
I understand
because I know the brother Tyler just said something about our next steps, too. Right? How do we got to get organized?
So the airwaves, you have the education.
Yes.
You have the opportunity to educate the masses on why they vote no
Right.
and what it means if they vote yes.
Yes.
That must be explained.
That's right.
And so a third grade could understand it.
Let me hear you do that right now on live. Since you brought it up, and you got vote no in back of you. You got your prop man. So tell us in a very simplistic way why this is such an imperative.
And the interpretation of voting no right now for the change of government means this. Voting yes means that we have 6,000 people in each ward in Atlantic City, and we have 6 council people, and we have 3 at large. You will break that down to possibly 1 person out of the 5 that's going to be elected that will be representing you. Wow. So you may have 1 person in the third, 5 people in the 3rd ward represent the whole city. So what happens to your representation in the rest of the community? It's nothing like having a representation of a neighbor that you can talk to and you can go to, and only you can vote for in that area. That's very, very important. You can feel that. You can see that. You can hold them accountable because you can knock on their door. That's very important. The other part, when it comes to the implementation and the carrying out of the legislation when they're dealing with your money. And everybody's a taxpayer, whether you're a property owner or you going to the corner store and buying a candy bar, you paying taxes. That means these children out here
Right.
feel the heat.
Absolutely.
Vote no.
Yeah.
Because they're taking away your future right now by you voting yes. Now, all those who voted yes the last time, it was about education and organization and strategy. Young people, you got to get out there. For the first time, they're going to be voting. This is going to be the first thing they vote for before June and May election.
March 31st.
March 31st. It's very important. Their first vote. Now, you said you have a granddaughter.
Granddaughter.
Yeah. She just got registered to vote. If she's in Atlantic City, this would be her first time she would be able to vote.
To save her
yes
vote.
or no.
She's in Galloway.
So-
but at the same time,
They know people.
But they know people.
Exactly.
The
And
interest,
you know
that's
somebody.
the point. And that's what you have to
And
do.
that's the other thing.
Steve, that's
if
the
you
point.
cannot vote, then you know somebody that can vote.
Everybody knows
And if your
somebody.
mother, your father, your grandfather feel that there's no need to vote, as you as a child, tell them to vote for you.
Everybody, let me remind
So
you
that's what I would
something.
like to leave them with.
Very well done.
Everybody in this county knows somebody. This has to be a movement by the people. Pick up the phone. Call your friend. Call your relative. Everybody knows someone. We must stop it here and now. For if we don't stop this today, and they're successful, and they move the casinos to North Jersey like they're trying to tie to this, there will be nothing left for the residents not only of Atlantic City, but for the entire county. Remember this, Atlantic City is the heart. The county is the body. If the heart stops pumping, the rest of the county will die. In Hamilton Township alone, if you look at the 2010 census, it says that we have 20,000 families. And if you go to Hamilton Township, where we just opened the Hamilton Township United Democratic Headquarters, and everybody's invited February 26th, 6 to 8 p.m. to the opening. The reason we're doing this is for the largest voter registration drive that has ever been conducted in the history of Hamilton Township. Do you know how many residents there really are in Hamilton Township? Just because you live in an apartment does not mean you don't have rights to vote. Everyone has the right to vote. We fought for this. We must all come together. Stand up proud and loud and tell them no. Who's making the money in Atlantic City today? The Monitor. The state monitor's making the money in Atlantic City today. Who appointed that monitor? The governor. Has the governor, again, I'm going to remind you, and everyone I see is looking and listening, we have not heard a word from the governor or the lieutenant governor about this change of government. And I'm ashamed of that.
Should be.
It was so important to come in here and take over our rights and to run the day-to-day operations. But now, when it gets down to the nitty-gritty, they've become silent and mute. I call on the governor or the lieutenant governor to come out and explain their position, whatever it may be, to the citizens, because we have a right to know their opinion.
And I want to add on too,
Please.
to a lot of the viewers and the followers.
This thing is so scary because you can have someone as far as Philadelphia calling the shots in Atlantic City.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? They can be appointing our new mayor without even going through us. They can appoint all city council members without going through us. So that means we're not going to be able to put pressure on our officials any longer. That's a very scary situation.
You know, that's an issue. You say that because when you talk about the voting part, but I remember meeting, and this is basically Texas, California, the area where I spent a lot of my work in. But I remember a guy telling me once before, and this kind of goes back to Atlantic City years back. But the guy in Nevada told me they spent tons of money in Texas, right? Because that's their largest gambling group. 13% of it at the time was coming from Las Vegas. To not vote in gambling, right? Because they didn't want Texas to have gambling. They did it in California for a while, but they got to the point they couldn't do it. So the whole idea is that, does it benefit Philadelphia? Yes, of course it does. Because you kill it here, they're going to come to Philadelphia. And if that's gambling is your thing, is your thing. But the gaming issue, we have to learn. There's a game that we have to learn to play, guys. And Steve, you know this. I mean, I've been hearing you for years since I've been living your name all out. I thought you played quarterback for the 49ers. When I first heard that. This is the thing about it. There's more than one way to play these games. That's right. And we can't do it one way. We take our money, they spend their money, and they spend their money in so many different ways. We have to learn how to use our dollars to do other things other than just the way that we're going this way. That's why we lose out. We get so focused on one. When I say we, I'm talking about poor people in general. We get those who not benefiting out of it, but those who benefited. There used to be a guy here some years ago, Norcroft, I think was his name, right?
Oh, yeah.
When I first came here, I heard that guy. I used to hear that guy's name everywhere. Yeah. I mean, who is this guy? Well, you know what? He was spending his money all over the state, man, to getting things the way he wanted to.
Still doing it.
And that's lobbying. And you mentioned a great point. It's about accountability. Your governor, because they control and they are head of Atlantic City, being silent is worse than the act.
Correct.
For them to be silent, they can make this go away overnight.
Yes.
Because they're saying when they took over, that our vote don't count anyway. So if our vote don't count, you have the veto power, you can veto this overnight, and we don't have to be going through this division.
Correct.
Number one.
Right.
Number two, there's some people that can vote now. The legislation been changed.
Correct.
And they did look into it. On probation or parole, if you was on probation and parole, please check with your nearest municipality and find out if you can vote so you can be ready for this as well as the other election coming forward. So I just want to say we got to give people something to do. Those two things, as well as call the governor's office right now. Get the number, Google it. You can Google it like everything else. Call his office.
That's right.
Call the lieutenant governor's office and tell them it's your responsibility. You wanted the city. You held accountable now. Get rid of this overnight. That's what we can do. And we can spend our time doing something else.
Steve just said something that we all need to agree to.
Well, this is.
Well, let me tell you what we're going to do.
Let me just say this real quick, though, Jimmy.
We're going to take comment from Derek. We're going to take comment from Tyler. Then we got to head down to the community meeting where they're going to vote.
I just want to say this.
Please explain that meeting that's taking place that we're heading down to.
I just want to say that the silence shows that there is a hidden agenda.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And there's no other way to look at that. And just from the very fact when the state came in and took over Atlantic City, and then this particular issue comes up, and then all of a sudden they're talking about gambling in North Jersey. So if you really look at that, they call it the three-headed dragon or whatever, the three-headed devil or whatever you want to call it, monster, three-headed monster. Right. That's what it looks like. It's three-headed monster, and somebody has an agenda, and now the casinos are saying Atlantic City's bad. Atlantic City's bad.
Right.
So what are they doing about it? It goes back to what I think somebody said that already. What are they doing about it? Because it's one thing, like you said that, Steve, to hit the like button at home. But if they're over there hollering Atlantic City's bad and they have the dollars to make it better, then that don't make any sense.
Exactly.
You know, to say it's bad when you can come out and spend, you can pay Pacific Avenue with your own money. Yeah. You get all the casino guys together and say, you know what? Let's just fix Pacific Avenue with our own money.
Just like we getting together right here to vote
with our own
other
money.
stuff.
With our own money.
With our own money and our own time.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Jim, if you would for a minute.
Well, let's do Tyler first.
Please explain to everybody what that meeting is tonight and where it's taking place?
You want to explain it? You want to?
No, I want you to do it if you would.
So, what's happening tonight, everybody? At 6 o'clock to 7 o'clock at the Soldiers' Home in Atlantic City, City Hall, the mayor, and some others, they have organized this Stop the Vote No committee with the community. So this is a community town hall meeting. Did I say it right, Steve, or can you say it better?
No, I can't say it better than you did.
Okay. Well, that's what we're going to do. All of us, like this platform that we have created tonight, ladies and gentlemen, because we love God and country in Atlantic City. We've come together. Roy Foreman has a platform, media platform. Stuart Wolf has a platform. LDTV, Lisa Diane Hall has a platform. Derek Brock has a community outreach platform. Mr. Tyler has a a platform that he does his media web, how do you call it, blogs and different kind of media communications.
Yes.
Vibe 609 is an Atlantic City TV station. And Steve Young.
I'm on everybody's platform.
Yeah, he is the platform with Peacekeepers. Now, we have come together collectively because we've made an agreement tonight.
Can I just clear something before you finish that?
Please, brother.
We are not Marty Small bandwagon riders. We are doing this for the people. So come in there with that mind. A lot of people think this is all about Marty.
No.
Marty is just trying to spearhead it. I don't know about everything he do, but this is about all of us,
This is
not
the community.
just him.
This is the community.
This is to save the city of Atlantic City from a death blow. This is bigger than anybody that's elected to office in Atlantic City today.
It is.
Yeah, this is
For
about us coming together as unity.
If they allow a casino owner to take over the power of Atlantic City, the last one that goes over the bridge on Albany Avenue can turn the lights off. This is to save our own lives. To vote no gives us hope for tomorrow.
Okay, so let me tell them about the event tonight. 6 o'clock, we are getting ready to leave
Well
here.
said.
We get ready to leave here. We're going down to the Soldiers' Home. What's the other name for the Soldiers'
All
Home?
Wars Memorial.
All Wars Memorial. Anybody know the exact address? Adrian, it's on Adriatic Avenue, right off of Martin Luther King. 1500 Adriatic Avenue. So right now, City Hall and a whole bunch of other folks, LaToya Dunstan, some of our council members are there. NAACP, all of the good citizens from Atlantic City are coming together so we can partner and team. And this is going to become our Atlantic City global national social media group right here. We're going to come up with the leadership. We're going to come up with the name of this group. We're going to have a website that we already got a, Vote No website. I've posted it already. But we'll be getting back with everybody, and we're going to partner not only on Vote No, but also on prosperity in the future, okay? Because we're going to have this February 11th and 12th Opportunity Zone Black Capitalism Fund Summit, and we're going to work together.
Where's it at, Jimmy?
It's going to be at the Showboat
Okay.
on the 12th, and our focus is to bring $3 billion of private investment into Atlantic City. I'm also working with Roy Foreman and some others, Kenny Leonard.
So are they bringing cash?
Yes.
That's billions with a B?
They bringing $3 billion cash?
Yes. They're going to bring, but we're going to focus on diversity, inclusion. Because
Right.
what has not happened good
That's a
in
good
this
point.
city and other cities
That's right.
is that we are not at the table when they cutting the deals. That's right. Now, this time it's going to be our table, it's going to be our deals, and we're going to bring the capital to the table. So we're going to either cut it out, or no, cut us in or cut it out. Okay?
like that.
This time we're going to lead with dollars in hand. We're not going to come to the table and say, can you give us a loan?
Right.
Can you do this for us? Can you? No. We coming with $3 billion. This is our party, and the party is black, white, Bangladesh, Latino, Asian, all the colors like Roy said. So we're going to wrap it up here, ladies and gentlemen. We didn't want to take any station breaks because this was too important. And thank you, Steve Young.
When the next time we going to do this?
I think we need to do this
Next
every
Monday.
week to election
Every Monday.
day.
Okay, let
Every
everybody,
Monday.
let everybody
Every
know
Monday.
where to tune in.
And if you can't get here, you'll know how to plug into this network.
Wow.
But every Monday starting now, this is going to become the Vote No media platform for America, and we're going to mobilize 1 million Americans to support us through our campaign to what we call Million People's Cyber March for Justice. Okay?
Ladies and gentlemen,
Stay
this isn't
tuned.
for
All of
our
our cameras will
benefit.
be back on in a few minutes when we get down to the old Soldiers' Home. not old soldiers home, soldiers home. I'm an old soldier. But stay tuned. In the next 30 minutes, we'll be back live again.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. God bless you. Everybody want to say God bless you?
God bless you.
God bless you, Atlantic City. Go ahead. What is something about man? Go ahead, Sean.
Where I'm from. Yeah. I'm from a town where the dreams are big. Non-stop around the clock to find your means to
The Jimmy Whitehead Power Hour, power to the people, talking about the power of the people of Atlantic City, a platform for people to discuss ideas of the community, creating an all-inclusive environment where people of Atlantic City can actively participate in the economic revitalization of Atlantic City's future. This forum will focus on black and white capitalism, working together to create red, white, and blue capitalism. Every Monday from 5 to 6 p.m. on WEHA 88.7 and 100.3 FM. WeHaveGospel.com. The Jimmy Whitehead Power Hour. Power to the people.
This is my city till death do us part. So no matter where I go, it's AC to the heart.
City, driving down the boulevard, show what we're made of. That's why they come from near and far. Atlantic City, casinos lit up in the dark. High stakes, we made it. We shining bright among the stars.
Atlantic City's known for more than saltwater taffy. We hurricane survivors, Great Atlantic and Sandy. The world's playground, flood the coast with eye candy. Couple of made fellas suited up and sipping brandy. Real life Monopoly boards, so step aboard. Roll the dice, stroll the night, play at your own accord. Rich Uncle Penny bags, hustlers on every ave. A safe haven for gangsters, better protect your cash. We skip the prohibition to always serve the customer. Boats full of booze, run runners through the summer. Nucky Johnson at the Ricks, Capone taking flicks. All the glamour for the glamour, bright lights and all the glitz. 32 Kentucky Ave, home for black jazz. Club Harlem nightlife, Pop Williams the highlight. Cocktails and pretty girls, they ain't a place better than when you down on your luck, we always let you bet again.
City, driving down the boulevard, show what we're made of. That's why they come from near and far. Atlantic City, casinos lit up in the dark. High stakes, we made it. We shining bright among the stars.
Shout out to back Maryland, across the Stanley homes. Real Jesus check you, be careful where you roam. From Venice Park to the boardwalk, down to Albany Ave, where the Vikings used to march. The whole city got some heart. See half the population down in Gardner's Basin. Fish heads and back.
The Jimmy Whitehead Power Hour, power to the people, talking about the power of the people of Atlantic City, a platform for people to discuss ideas of the community, creating an all-inclusive environment where people of Atlantic City can actively participate in the economic revitalization of Atlantic City's future. This forum will focus on black and white capitalism, working together to create red, white, and blue capitalism. Every Monday from 5 to 6 p.m. on WEHA 88.7 and 100.3 FM. WeHaveGospel.com. The Jimmy Whitehead Power Hour. Power to the people.
Rockin', baby. Stand up. Feel so good. Come on. We rock, yes, yes, yes.
Show them how.
That's right.
How we rock, yeah.
The Jimmy Whitehead Power Hour, power to the people, talking about the power of the people of Atlantic City, a platform for people to discuss ideas of the community, creating an all-inclusive environment where people of Atlantic City can actively participate in the economic revitalization of Atlantic City's future. This forum will focus on black and white capitalism, working together to create red, white, and blue capitalism. Every Monday from 5 to 6 p.m. on WEHA 88.7 and 100.3 FM. WEHA